Resident Evil 5 Remake is probably one of the hardest remake Capcom has to make. And the reason is simple. Resident Evil 5 isn't like Resident Evil 2. It isn't like Resident Evil 4 either. Because when people talk about Resident Evil 5, the opinions are all over the world are different. Some people absolutely love it. Some people think it's one of the best co-op game ever made. And then there's another group of people that thinks Resident Evil 5 is the exact moment Resident Evil lost its horror identity. So if Capcom is actually making Resident Evil 5 remake, they have a very difficult job. They need to keep up the things that people loved while fixing the things that people hated. And honestly, I think the first thing that they need to improve is the atmosphere. Now don't get me wrong, I actually like the setting of Resident Evil 5, but let me honest, when you compare it to the Resident Evil 4 remake, the horror just isn't there. Most of RE5 incidents happen in the broad daylight. You are surrounded by enemies, but you are really scared of them. In Resident Evil 4 remake, even the simple village section can feel creepy. In RE5, you are actually blasting through the borders of enemies, and I think Capcom can fix this without changing the story. Make the environment darker, add more tension, add sections when you are separated from Seva, even though she is not that much helping, but still, let her separate. Imagine entering a laboratory and suddenly losing communication with your partner. Now you are alone. Now every sound matters. Moments like that will instantly make the game feel more like Resident Evil. And speaking of Seva, we need to talk about her. Not Seva as a character, the AI, literally the AI. Fucked up AI. So if you played the Resident Evil 5 solo, literally solo, not with your friends, you know what I'm talking about it. Like, it's AI, the Seva AI. It's literally the fucked up. Because in Resident Evil games, the AI isn't always terrible, but when it is bad, it is really bad. Now obviously Capcom can't release a remake of Resident Evil 5 with that same AI, especially after this years. Modern gaming standards are completely different. If someone buys Resident Evil 5 remake in 2027 or 2028 and the partner AI is still acting stupid, people are going to destroy the game online. So Capcom needs to make Seva actually feel intelligent, not overpowered, just a simple partner, or like a more like a real partner. Now another thing that I think that needs improvement is exploration. One thing I noticed while replaying the Resident Evil 5 remake is how linear it feels. Like, most of the game is basically fight enemies, move forward, fight enemies again, move forward again, and repeat. Literally the repeat. There is nothing wrong with this action. Resident Evil is Resident Evil. It doesn't feel like Resident Evil. Look at Resident Evil 2. Look at Resident Evil 4 remake. You are constantly checking corners, looking for treasures, search for secrets. RE5 doesn't actually have that much of that. So if Capcom expands the environment and adds some optional areas, I think it would make a huge difference. And the last point is Wesker.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
To be honest, in Resident Evil 5, the Wesker section is too much. Like, literally the too much great. The aura farming dude, and I appreciate it, but still, there are some major flaws. In the cutscenes, he's like aura farming dude. He's just aura farming. But in actual fight, when he's standing there and just picking the Ouroboros seed, like Ouroboros, poor performance indeed. The kind of sits, and you know all that. In actual fight, I don't feel like that he is Wesker, literally. So in remake, I would like to see the Wesker literally fight like Wesker, not like just standing there and like spitting the Ouroboros sit, and we call him very genius. He would not fight like that. And if you have some opinions about Resident Evil 5 remake, just comment down and share your opinions. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Bye guys.